welcome to Prosper India. I am your host and news analyst Nishtha. This is not just a farmer protest, it is a negotiation over something far more important than the compensation, the value of land in India's infrastructure economy. And once you understand this, the entire debate changes. The question is that who captures the infrastructure value? A typical transmission project can cost 10,000 to 15,000 crore depending on the scale. But its impact is much larger of that. Over last 20 to 25 years, it can enable multiples of that value in industrial output, electricity access and investment expansion. So now the question is very simple that who captures this long-term value? Government collects its taxes, companies earn returns, industries get reliable electricity, consumers get power security, investors earn capital gains. But farmers whose land is used, they usually receive a one-time compensation. This creates what economists call value capture asymmetry. Not about land loss today, but about decades of value created afterwards that never flows back to the landowner. Now let's talk about the hidden cost of green energy. India has committed to 500 GW non-fossil capacity by 2030. But here's the most discussions ignore. Renewable energy is geographically separated from consumption. For example, solar in Kutch, which is in Gujarat, demand in Mumbai, Delhi, industrial belts. So electricity must travel hundreds to over 1000 kilometers. That requires transmission corridors, substations, right of ways across private land. India's Green Energy Corridor Phase 2 alone plans around 10,000 plus circuit kilometer transmission lines. This creates what we can call the grid expansion paradox. The cleaner energy becomes, the more land intensive the transmission network becomes. Now, why protest intensify before construction? This is where negotiation theory explains a lot. Before construction, farmers have maximum leverage, projects are vulnerable to delay, but after its approval, companies and state gain leverage. Reversing project becomes expensive, so protests often speak before or during early execution phase, not emotional timing. It is strategic bargaining cycles. Why every stakeholder is rational? This is not a conflict of logic, it is a conflict of incentives. If we talk about farmers, they optimize lifetime income from land, not just one-time compensation. Whereas the government optimizes infrastructure completion speed, political and economic growth cycles. But if we talk about companies, they optimize certainty for investment returns. Uncertainty increases capital cost. Banks, if they are exposed to delays, they have higher financial stress risk. On the other hand, consumers only feel impact later through tariffs or slow growth. Everyone is rational, but they are optimizing different time horizons. Now the real issue is that property rights are incomplete. This is a classic cozy problem. Farmer-owned land, state has eminent dominant power. Company has legal clearance, public benefits from electricity, but no system clearly answers that how is long-term value shared. That gap is where conflict emerges. Now the hardest problem is that how is valuation of long-term loss calculated? Current composition models mostly cover land usage, crop damage, construction impact, but they struggle to price reduce future productivity, resale value loss, land use restrictions, psychological and uncertainty cost. These are externalities and there is no universal formula to price a 30 to 40-year impact on land utility. That's the real policy gap, not compensation itself but valuation accuracy. The deeper structural shift is that India is transforming from an agriculture-led land economy to an infrastructure-led land economy. Land is no longer just a farming asset. It is now logistic backbone, energy corridor, industrial foundation and digital infrastructure layer. This fundamentally changes political economy. So the Gujarat protest is not just about transmission lines. It's a preview of much larger national question that can India build infrastructure at a scale while still fairly distributing the value it creates. Because if the answer is no, then every future highway, corridor, and energy project will face the same structural conflict, not as a one off protest but as a repeating feature of development itself.